Okay, it looks like we are live. I'm going to give it just about 10 seconds to make sure the testing screen is all good, giving time for the lag, and then we're just going to dive right in. Okay, we can see the chat's already getting started. What's up, everyone? If you guys could hear us, say something. If you hear me, let us know inside of the chat. All right. Okay, we are live. What is going on, everyone? How's everyone doing? Okay, let's see.
Very good.
I guess they'll let us know in the chat if we sound good. We'll just go from there. This is going to be a fun one. This is going to be dope. I've been looking forward to this all week. We got some legends in the house. First off, we got the legend behind Advanced Themur. By far the best Bricks add-on there is. Personal opinion. I got to throw it out there. But honestly, it has been my favorite add-on to Bricks. So I'm really excited to have Maxime, the creator, here tonight. We have...
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Don't stop.
Alan?
Don't stop. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Jeez. I can't believe... WP Easy. Okay. All right. The T isn't kicking in yet, so let's wait for it to kick in. But we got Alan from WP Easy. If you guys are in the Bricks crew, inside the Brick community, you know Alan. He's always there creating just really good content, really dev focused, and always there helping out everyone. And then we got the legend, Paul. No introduction really needed, but we'll go ahead and do intros anyways. Let's go ahead and start off with Maxime. Hey, Maxime, just go ahead and let us know who you are, how you started, and how...
So yeah, I'm hearing a bit of lags. So who am I?
I can't hear you. Is that
You
just
hear me now? Okay.
I think it's just you.
Can you guys hear? I can't hear. Is it just my audio?
Yeah, I
Jeffrey, you're just dropping a little bit.
Do you guys hear me? Yeah.
Yep, we can hear you, Maxime.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead.
Yeah.
So, see, my name is Maxime, and I'm working since like probably around 10 years. Oh, right. Do you hear me now?
I can hear you. I'm back.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a web developer since like about 10 years, I would say, something like this. Maybe something more. To be fair, that's not making me younger, right? And first I started an agency making websites for white as a white agency. So I was making websites for other agencies, and then I adopted Bricks. Started playing with it about a year or so, and then come up with Advanced Themur, which is for those that don't know me, it's a plugin that enhances the experience of Bricks, and is adding more features to the builder and the overall experience to the Bricks builder. And it's about now 2 years and a half, something around it, that AT has been released, and it has been an adventure. Yeah, a really positive adventure for me, but it's still growing and still an exciting project.
I look forward to learning more about that adventure in this call. That's one of the big reasons why I've been excited for this. Awesome. Go ahead and let us know about you.
Yeah.
Did you say me, or you just dropped again a little bit there? Did you say Paul or me?
Oh yeah, no, you,
okay.
Alan. Yeah, just let us know a little bit about your background, what you're doing, and how you're doing tonight.
Yeah, doing good. My background's not as extensive as in web dev as our Maxime. But so I really seriously probably started doing this only 3 years ago. But I had an IT business for about 20 years where we were helping people fix their websites and just doing stuff on the side and finding it interesting, but not doing it as a business. was only about 3 years ago, and I did what most people when they start out by doing is using the page builder that's got the most widgets. So we went for Elementor, and until we sort of outgrew that a little bit, and found bricks a couple of years ago, and just haven't looked back. And as you said, the when you add AT to bricks, it's hard to work with bricks when you haven't got AT. It's just adds so many well thought out features. And I don't normally say nice things about Maxime, but he's a good dude, easy to talk to. we normally dump on him, but he's a great guy, easy to work with, and it's been an absolute pleasure. So working with Maxime on ATF and getting that into AT has just been a fun ride. You know what he's like. You sort of. I actually chatted to him. I said, "Look, Maxime, hey, here's an idea. This is something I'm doing myself," and within sort of minutes, it felt like minutes. It's like let's make it part of AT, and every time you do something, it's got to be released the next day, and it's got to have 101 features. So it's been interesting. So yeah, that's about it.
Tell everyone where they can find you. You got I just posted it inside of the chat, but you got a really good YouTube channel. I think that a lot of people can find a lot of value in. I know I get stuck as we're building, I get stuck, but you've always just had these solutions for very difficult problems. Your channel is WP Easy. What's that been like with your channel?
It's really just a bit of a way of me sharing ideas that I've solved or whatever. It's a bit eclectic. There's it's not that really beautifully polished stuff like yours or Paul's. It's unedited video, but it's really just about here's an idea, here's how you solve it, and throw the video up there. So I think quite a few people get value out of that. So yeah, I'll just keep doing it, and but I've got to focus more on. I keep getting told I've got to focus more on ATF because we kind of threw that out there, and now everyone's going, "How do I do this? And how do I use the utilities?" And that. So I've got to find time to focus more on one thing, and that's probably been my biggest problem with web dev and with the videos is trying to do too many things, and trying to and not spending enough time focusing on one thing. So it's a bit eclectic, a bit all over the place. And that's actually one of the things I admire about guys like Maxime is how do you get it? And you'll talk about this. How do you focus on a product for 2.5 years, on a product? And I know there's a lot to it, but that I find that amazing, being able to just focus on one thing, So yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Awesome. And then we got the legend, Paul. What is up, Paul? How's it going, man?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, good to be here today with Alan and yourself. Maxime, not so much so, because he's basically binned me off as his marketing manager. He's very fickle like that. He might create a good product, but his HR skills are terrible. I'll just put that out there.
I know. I agree with you.
That's a that's a perfect segue to the expectations that we're going to set for this call. Okay. So first off, we're going to talk about Bricks Advanced Themur. We're going to talk about the ATF, but I give it about 5 to 10 minutes and shots are going to start getting thrown around over here. We're going to have some fun. We're going to keep it positive. We're going to have fun, but we're going to have some fun. Let's just put it there. I give it 10 minutes. What do you say, Paul? Or what do you say, Maxime? How long do you think we could go? How long can we keep it civil?
Yeah, I mean, it's time right now, right? Can we start the real thing? Or should we just pretend we are professionals?
Okay, we'll pretend for as long as we can. Hey, so I do have a question to start everything off with, and it's one that I've been wanting to ask all week long, because when you launched Advanced Themur, it blew up right away. Like, I remember when you launched it, I picked up the LTD immediately, not because I knew anything about it, just because I knew you in the community. You're always there helping people. You always bring in really good energy to the Bricks community, and you were just providing tons and tons of value. So when you launched Advanced Themur, I picked it up solely based on like, thank you for being awesome inside of this community. But then it turned into like, holy, this is like crazy good. Like, and I think that's pretty much the consensus across all bricks users. Like 8C is one of those must-haves for bricks. At least, it has been. So I wanted to ask you, what has that been like? What's the journey been like? First off, creating a plugin and then having that plugin pretty much blow up really quickly inside of this niche.
Yeah. So first of all, I want to just come back really quick with about what you were saying right now. I see a lot of people in the bricks community, in the bricks community, but also in other communities that just pop up like from nowhere and say, "Hello, I have a new plugin that does A, B, C." No, and you just don't know the guy. He has no precedent. I don't think it's a really good approach if you want to build trust with the community you are working in, right? So I'm not saying this was everything was planned. Okay, I was active in the bricks community and helping people and interacting with guys way before I had the idea to create a plugin. All right, but yeah, I started to create it to create a personality in the bricks community in the way that people can recognize me and say, okay, this guy is a real one. It's someone that will stay in the time, right? He won't disappear tomorrow. And I think this is a key factor for maybe product users that are listening to us right now. Is maybe okay, focus on your product, but also focus on what is your contribution inside the community. It's really important to be a voice that is recognized as helping, right? And if you get recognized as an helping people, an helping person, everything is easier after that. And like you said, a lot of people like you, Jeffrey, purchased Advanced Themur just because they read some tutorial I wrote before, or because I added them in the comments in the Facebook group, and I interacted with them in the messages, and this helped me a lot when Advanced Themur started. And actually, the first day it was a nightmare because the server went down. Right, I had like 500 purchase in about like 2 hours or something. So it was crazy. It was crazy. My wife was watching me. Right, I had like 50 emails in 10 minutes. Right, and I had to reply one by one manually. I was totally unprepared. And yeah, it's been completely crazy in the first day and the day after. And by the way, I never expected this. All right, there is no plan for that. I was still working with clients. I had work to do with clients these days, right? And I had to quickly make a shift, right? If this is going to be the real deal, I need to focus my attention 100% on this. And I must say that the agency that I was working, I mean, it paid the bills, right? But it never really blew up as much as I wanted to. So actually, it wasn't. It hasn't been really hard to shift from the agency work to the product work. But yet it was it has been really stressful, and in a way you are like another person, right? You have to extract from what you are on day one and be another person, another professional the day two. And I never had any products. I always provided services. So being a product owner, making releases, bug fixes, support, and all these marketing, all these things were completely new to me. and it's quite a revolution, I must say.
Wow.
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
stories like this, man.
it has been a
I just gotta
ride.
say, I just love stories like this. Like, just one day it changes, and like, out of good intentions. It all started with good intentions, is from what I'm hearing, and then it changed. So, okay, the first day you launch it, like it crashes the server, emails are flooding. I could even imagine trying to balance clients while all of a sudden now, with all this like pressure and stress and weight on you. How did life change?
Yeah, I mean, it radically changed. So yeah, I mean, I lived my life until a couple of years ago with money issue. So I always been concerned to be able to pay my bills at the end of the month, right? And in one day, you get what I earned in probably all my life as a worker, an adult worker, right? And you say, well, what is going on? So it was a relief from some point of view to say, okay, this is a success. This can be a success if it's worked correctly, and from now on you put the correct focus on this. This is working, okay. And that was a relief, but also a lot of pressure. Because I followed a lot of guys talking about their business, how to run a business, and there are a lot of conflicting voices about that. How to scale an agency, how to scale a product company. And you have the other voices that make your one man company and don't rely on hiring. And hiring is a riskier step to make, and scaling can be a problem. So you never know, right, in which direction you should put your business on. And I decided quite early that Advanced Themur, for time being, would be a solo project company. I decided I would maintain the code, provide support, and work daily on my own and see how it's going. And I must say that working alone has a lot of benefits. A lot of benefits. It can feel sometimes to be a bit lonely when you want to how to say, to underline the success. Okay, you would like to have a partner to say, man, we did that, it is great, we are so happy, and it's missing the other guy to have a party sometime and celebrate the accomplishment. But on the other hand, I'm really feeling on my skin the freedom of managing my hours like I do. I don't have I do everything that I want in Advanced Themur. And I get criticized for this, and I get applauded for this, but my source code is exactly what I want to put it in. I get feedback, I get ideas from the community, but at the end of the day, I decide how I want to run the plugin, right? And how I want to show and structure the features, and what to put it in, and what to exclude. And this is a great feeling, right? Of course, it's a great feeling when the community find it helpful, and it's less. I'm less happy when people say, "What did you do with this feature? It's not working." But overall, it's a great satisfaction to own a product. Say, and it's yours. It's yeah. I mean, it's there is something close to heart. It's part of yourself, right? It's my baby in some sort, and
one day,
a lot of kind of just running a business.
And when he makes it really famous,
ahead,
he'll be able to move out of his attic.
To what? Sorry, move to?
Move out of your attic.
Okay, we didn't make it to 10 minutes. All right. I thought we would make it to 10 minutes. I was waiting for that, Paul. Hey, I do think, though, I think this is like a really good assumption. I think all three of us here were part of the first 500. I have a strong, I think we all were. And I know Paul, he created content right out the gate about it. Like,
actually, Paul is one of the first.
What was it like, Paul, when, you know?
Paul was one of the first that tested the plugin before everyone else.
Yeah, I think I had the beta version of it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's a beta tester.
Yeah. I'm a beta tester, yeah. Sorry, beta tester.
Because he wasn't famous when he met me, right? And as soon as he met me, he started a career with AT. Yeah.
I had Advanced Themur, and the world became my clam. To be honest, it was one of those things. I think when I first tried it out, I didn't really know what to expect from it. I think the big thing was because there's nothing like this out there, and you never kind of see anything like this really for like Elementor and stuff like that, which was kind of more where I was, you know, at the beginning of when Advanced Themur kind of came out. It was kind of like, okay, there's a huge amount of things here. What the hell do I do with them all? You know, what's useful, what's not? And I think as the plugin has grown, as Maxime sort of like released the videos that have kind of covered the new updates and features, it's kind of opened your eyes to what you can do. And obviously having conversations with Maxime behind the scenes when it was a beta and when it was sort of first released and so on. We've had many conversations about different features and talk about, you know, like when I did my top features. I know Maxime kind of came back and said, like, oh, there's several other features in here that I think are probably more important than what you've covered. And I think until you get a use case for some of these, maybe what you would consider more niche features, you don't really start to unwrap what, you know, Advanced Themur can do for you. And I think the beauty of it, and probably why it's resonated with so many people, is that you can then customize Advanced Themur, which in turn customizes your workflow inside Bricks to how you want to work. I think that's why so many people love it. It's because it's not a case of there's a one size fits all. It's like if you never use that particular feature because you don't use that kind of way of working inside Bricks, you never have to activate it. But then there's so many things, and like Alan said at the beginning, when you don't have Jeffrey, I think as you said it, when you don't have Advanced Themur installed, which sometimes when I'm doing tutorials, I kind of think, right, I've got to take this out just to show native Bricks. You feel like you've got one arm tied behind your back, just trying to do the basics, you know, just simple things like inserting your containers, inserting your divs, you know, all these little things that you just take for granted. When they're not there, you realize how incredibly important and how it opens up what you can do inside Bricks itself. So, you know, like I say, right back at the beginning, it was a case of like probably feature overwhelm, not knowing what would be useful, what a lot of them would actually do inside the editor. And there's a learning curve with it. And there's a learning curve that I think everybody goes through, but everybody's learning curve is going to be different because everyone's workflow is different. And I think the beauty of people like myself, Alan, Jeffrey, and Maxime creating videos on Advanced Themur, it shows different people's workflows and how they integrate that into their processes. And I know I've watched videos by Alan and watched videos by Maxime and Jeffrey, and it's like, I'll look at it and go, oh, damn, I didn't realize that feature was there. I'm going to go put that on now. And then you immediately adopt that into your workflow because it makes so much sense. But when you've got 300 different settings, it's very difficult to kind of see unless you've got a real world use case for that particular function and how it will impact your workflow. So I think that's probably one of the reasons why Advanced Themur has been so successful over and above, you know, Maxime's involvement in the community prior to releasing it, is because you've got that goodwill, but you've also got a great product that opens up so many other options that we can tailor to our workflow. And I think there's something kind of a little bit sort of magical about that because we're not kind of tied into just one way of working and one way of setting things up. That's kind of my experience.
Just in support of that, Paul, I don't know how many times I've pinged Maxime and asked him, you know, wouldn't it be great if Advanced Themur did X? And he straight comes back, it already does. Here's the feature. It's like, oh, okay. I didn't know it did that. So, yeah, 100%.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Alan is my nightmare. because when I receive a message from him, it means I have to work, right? I have to do something with my day. He's going to ask me some crazy shit, and I have to somehow to find a solution for this.
But the other side of that too is like I will have an idea and I have something in my mind. I go, hey, this would be great. You send
Hey guys,
Maxime the idea.
why shouldn't we make our palettes or color palette conditional on pages, right? Is a UI ready? Yeah, it's not. It's quite hard to code. Right?
You found a way though. You found a way to solve the problem. So yeah. So that's the thing. It's like, I might sort of say to Maxime, hey, it'd be great if we could do something. And the next day, there's normally a beta. Here you go. Have a look at this. And it's always better than what I thought of. And it's always, wow, that's different. And it's always better, and like even if you look at the changes since implementing the ATF strategy into AT, that's sent them off on a spiral of adding new ways of managing your variables and new features and new displays, and pretty much every week there's new things coming out that support the way you use a framework, which didn't exist before. And every time I see them, I'm going, this is just awesome. Yeah, it's just way better than what I expected it to be. So it's interesting. I don't know where you keep getting these ideas from, eh?
Yeah, I mean AI is getting better and better. So
okay, blame the AI. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. This isn't really Maxime. This is the AI version.
That? See, I was about to ask.
Yeah.
I mean, thanks to ChatGPT, right?
But I mean, look, the things you've done, like if you look through the variable manager, look at how you're managing the scales now. Before, your clamp settings were elsewhere. Now they're in the same UI. You've got your mobile display and your desktop display in the same place. You've now got different, what do they call them, curves that you can set for your minimum values and your maximum values. So you're pretty much catering for every way that anyone might want to work. And there's got to be, I guess, a question in that. There's a question there too: is at what point does it become too complicated? Does it become, when it's simple, it's nice and easy for pretty much anyone to jump in and understand. I set a minimum value, a maximum value, done. When you start adding extra features, it sort of starts to complicate things for some, or for many. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a real challenge for Advanced Themur. Is doing complicated things and make them look like easy to manage, and it is a challenge. Somehow there are things. Yeah. Go on, Paul. Sorry.
No. You can. All I was going to say was I think there would be a good mileage in one day. We sort of say let's do a live stream like this, but Maxime has to pick the 10 most obscure features inside Advanced Themur and then talk us through how to use them. Things that you just like, they're so left field, you kind of think, what?
Why?
And then you've got to demonstrate how we use them and how we'd implement them. Because I think things like that open up people's eyes to what can be done with it. And like you say, as the ATF starts to get more integrated into it, more adoption. We've got Brixies already starting to adopt it. You've got Brix Mavens released in their version of their sort of wireframes and so on. And I think that's I think that's a testament to how popular and how well respected Advanced Themur is that you release ATF and within the space of obviously a few weeks, they're already behind the scenes starting to put together those wireframes because they already know the market is there. And the adoption will be big enough for them to invest their time and efforts into on top of the core framework and ACSS. So I think that's a testament to it. But I think it would be quite cool to sort of just pick out those really obscure features you've got. Because like Alan says, like half the time there's features and you go, hey, it's already there. It's like, is it? Okay. Didn't have a clue.
Yeah.
I think there'd be mileage in that. And then obviously people in the comments and things can sort of feedback and sort of ask their questions and we can demonstrate those kinds of things live. So I don't know, just an idea that popped into my head when you were talking about things.
Yeah, absolutely.
I kind of feel like as soon as I get my blueprint down and get all my settings right and go through all those features, that another update comes and there's like 20 more. and then I started falling behind on it. Then I'm like, I don't even want to look for a long
Stop
time.
it.
Yeah.
Stop reading
and
shit.
now we got the framework. So we got the
Yeah.
and you know, when I saw the ATF, I was wondering if you considered making that a standalone product and why you chose to put that into AT.
Yeah, so I have of course the day after I published Advanced Themur. No, the temptation was, I mean, the day after or the months after or the year after. No, the temptation is always, okay, let's replicate a successful experience, right? So let's create another plugin, and let's create add-ons of the add-ons, and let's generate revenues by adding new selling stuff, right? This is of course something that went in my mind really early in the Advanced Themur adventure. But ultimately, I mean, and I'm not excluding, of course, to create separated plugins in the future. But right now, my focus has been really on putting value to my customers, right? And I believe we are getting to a point with Advanced Themur where, like you said before, right, we have now like about 200 features, and it's becoming overwhelming. I'm aware of this, and I receive every week an email saying, "Hey, Maxime, could you integrate a search filter in the theme settings so it would be easier to find a feature and activate and deactivate it?" And there are some technical issues to do that, and I'm aware that people get overwhelmed, and maybe it's time to find solution, to maybe create a separate version for some kind of features, and this is something I'm actively thinking about, right? But right now, I think it's Advanced Themur as a full-blown plugin can still survive. I mean, there will always be a plan where all the features of Advanced Themur are inside the release. Okay, but I'm considering to give the option to my customers to say, okay, I'm not interested by some of the features of Advanced Themur, but I would gladly spend my bucks on a smaller package that do exactly what I'm willing to do, right? With it, and yeah, this is probably some sort of compromission. I mean, yeah, no, sorry, not a compromission, but find the right
A compromise. Yeah.
yeah, find right compromise to give a good experience to my users. I mean, of course, I'm not happy when people say, "I'm just lost. I don't know what to enable. I don't know what this is about." And I think lately I got I wouldn't say many, but I would say a significant amount of people that maybe refounded Advanced Themur just because they were lost, and they were not ready to spend maybe a couple of hours now to check boxes and see what is going on, and check videos, and they were expecting to just enable the plugin and get all the benefits without learning curves, without spending time to learn. Okay, because it is at the end of the day, it is a complex plugin if you want to leverage every feature in it, right? And so
Yeah.
yeah, this is definitely something I need to work in the coming months and years.
Well, if the biggest problem is we get two features, that's a pretty good problem for us, the end user. For ATF though, so I know it's like still in the early stages. Where do you see that going? Do you see that growing to something, say, the size of Core Framework? And have you thought about having that as a standalone. I would also love to hear from like Paul and Alan, like and others too in the chat, like what they would think, you know, if they would buy it as a standalone, if they would prefer to have it as a standalone. I know me personally, I'd be happy to invest in it because AT has done so much for me already. I believe in the product. I believe in you. And I feel the sentiment is the same with everyone. I think I don't see friction happening there, but you know, that just could be because you're my favorite plugin developer. I would like to hear what others think as well. And you know, your plans and thoughts.
I think there's mileage in having the separate plugin, and I can see the wisdom in doing it. But then I can also potentially see more support. I know you sort of have the same, you know, the same use case between whether you have it built into sort of like Advanced Themur and a standalone kind of thing. So I think it's one of those things that it could be a blessing and a curse, because if that took off, then you suddenly have a lot more support required potentially for something like that. Yeah, I mean, that would be my kind of first thought with it, but I don't know.
I think the thing is, Maxime and I talked about this in like before actually Maxime released it in AT, and effectively we're just giving people a free framework. They're buying AT, which is feature set. The framework is just being thrown in there with it, and it is basically bricks settings augmented by AT features, which is the color manager, the way the variable manager works, and it all just gets mapped into your theme. So I don't see how it would be standalone because it really needs those AT features to work well, particularly the way the variables get managed and the colors get managed. And so I'm not sure how that would be a benefit having that as a separate plugin. Maybe it could come down as what Maxime was talking about, where if he does release a package which has got less features, as long as it's still got the color manager and the variable manager, it could definitely come along with that, I guess. So it'd still be an AT.
Yeah. My kind of thought process there would be, well, just disable those features. You know, have a sort of like a wizard at the beginning, for example, of when you install Advanced Themur, and like you kind of have when you use Core Framework now. It asks you what kind of setup do you want. Do you want like absolutely nothing installed, the bare minimum, or do you want the full experience? So you could just have a sort of a wizard that says, do you just want the framework? At which point it activates, you know, the color module, it activates all the various features it needs, and just deactivates all the other features inside, you know, Advanced Themur. Otherwise, you could potentially end up having then two slightly different code bases potentially to support, you know, and I can imagine it just becomes a more of a logistical nightmare where you could just say, well, look, just disable all that and we can do it by default at the beginning. You only want that, click this button, everything else is disabled. But those options are there if you want to add them afterwards. And the same thing goes if you don't want to use anything to do with the framework, you're using something like Core Framework or something else, you literally just say, disable all those features, and now we only use the Advanced Themur features that are not tied into working with the framework. And again, you still have access to all those features. So I would just sort of wonder what the wisdom would be if it would actually end up just creating more work than just having something that allows you to just choose your kind of workflow that you want inside Advanced Themur. And then if you want to activate or deactivate things afterwards, you absolutely can do. So I don't know. Just that's my kind of first thoughts with it as a user.
Well, Maxime gets no sleep now, so they get less now.
No. I'm sure there are pros and cons on these things, but I'm sure also that if we do a wizard, right, and say, are you using a framework already? So should we disable the function related to framework, for example? I'm 100% sure I will get emails that says, why don't I see my variable icon in the builder like it's shown in Paul's video, right? There's something that is not working on my setup. And I continuously say, but you disabled this because by default it is enabled. So if it's not enabled anymore, it means that physically you had to disable it at some time, right? And oh no, I didn't do anything. Probably,
But
yeah, okay.
but maybe that's why I think if there's a wizard at the beginning that has, you know, just some information, video, whatever, however you kind of wanted to do it. And I'm sure Alan could put this together, but well, is it ready yet? I think
It is.
you got to. It already is. Yeah, it's already in the next release. I think it's maybe one of those things that, and we all experience it. I think even though myself and Jeffrey haven't created, you know, a plugin, we still have that same. Oh, you didn't show this particular thing in your tutorials. Like, yeah, that's because this tutorial isn't aimed at beginners. For example, this is a tutorial that's kind of like expect you to understand those basics. We would always get comments from people going like, "Oh, why didn't you show me that?" And you can't cater for every eventuality. I think you have to go right. What's the average use case, and those fringe cases? You just kind of think, well, this is where we can point you to documentation, or we can point you to another video or something. So at least your typical user, when they're going through that at the beginning, will understand if I enable this, it's going to disable these things, but they're all still there if I want them. And I don't know. Maybe it's kind of like managing people's expectations at that point of the installation process. And like you say, you will get people refunding because they don't want to invest the time into it. But that's the same people that would probably transition from something like, you know, Elementor into Bricks and go, oh, I want my money back because I can't work out what's going on. This is too different. It's because they're not investing that time to delve into that learning process that we all have to go through at different sort of stages when you sort of transition from one tool to another. It's part of the whole process, and if people are not willing to do that, well, that's kind of on them and not on us or, you know, you guys for what you're creating. And I think we can't cater for everybody. We have to be sort of realistic of that fact. That's kind of, again, just my opinions.
Yeah.
And I get this sense that support must be a challenge, you know, like running the Facebook group, taking the requests, you know, trying to fix bugs, trying to help people through problems, especially, you know, on a tool that is a bit more advanced. And not everybody advanced starts off inside Bricks. A lot of people want to make that jump and they're trying to learn. So I could only imagine. And I didn't say this early on, but in the chat, I should have said it. I pinned it on the top. If anybody has questions, put a Q and question. And somebody did ask a question in here about, you know, removing posts on feature requests. Now, I don't think we should get into that. The only thing, and I can't answer for you, but the only thing I could, you know, say is it's people have empathy towards people who are, you know, trying to do so much. Because I know for myself, trying to run so much, it could get overwhelming, you know. And I brought on somebody to help out with our support because it just got so overwhelming that I was getting burnt out. But I'm curious, Maxime, like, what's it been like for you? Not just like managing the plugin, managing the updates, but also keeping up with the support and keeping up with the Facebook community and marketing and everything else.
Yeah. So yeah, actually, it's really interesting to be behind the scene because my vision of the support is totally different now that I'm providing it. Compared to what I thought was a typical support for a product company, right? And actually, it's less of a problem that it looks like. This need to be said. So it can be. I mean, I won't say I'm not I'm not dedicating hours of my weeks to support, but the big majority of my customers are now customers from quite a lot of time. So most of them are customers for more than a year, and these customers usually don't require any kind of support because they are already comfortable with the tool. They understood the way it works and how new features are implemented. They maybe most of them follow the Facebook group, so they have sneak peeks and they understand what is going behind. The most of the support is going to the new customers that are just the first experience with Advanced Themur, and maybe, for example, one source of support is people that are watching maybe videos from 2 years ago and say, hey, why the variables are not in my team settings anymore? And I need to say, listen, the variable manager is inside the builder since 2 years now. You are a bit late, in a nicer way, of course. But I mean, I get support from this kind of source, or of course, I have a weekly email asking me if ACF Pro is still integrated inside AT if I purchase it. And I have to say that the policy of ACF changed, and you won't have access to the pro feature of ACF when you install Advanced Themur. So these all the kind of support, but it's extremely quick. I mean, one email, I have to reply one email, and it's done. And most of the other kind of support, the more technical one, actually it's the kind of support I like to get, because it's likely a bug or something I can improve, right? And there's something that's not working on my website. The first thing I ask usually is, can I get access to your website so I can check what's going on, right? And sometimes, I mean, not most of the time, most of the times it's a user error, right? And but sometimes I find error in the code, and it gives me the opportunity and the motivation to make the code better and better. So I don't feel it like something heavy on my shoulders, but actually enjoyable. Yeah.
I think it's also an advantage you've got such an active community that support each other. There's a lot to be said for having a good community.
Yeah.
Especially when you're around a product like Advanced Themur, you've got people like Alan that'll jump in and answer questions like to do with ATF and other things. And there's plenty of people that are knowledgeable enough in it to be able to offer that support and answer those questions and help people.
He's getting paid for that, so this.
Well, yeah, I don't doubt that.
Yeah, I mean,
lasagna.
It would be a problem if he wouldn't.
Yeah. He says getting paid lasagna.
yeah.
And cheesecake is a tip.
Yeah, but I've got to get to below.
Who are you, Garfield?
Yeah, but hey, one of the things that probably I've seen a lot of too is that we're seeing more and more in the early days, people that were taking on bricks because of the spending $250 on a plugin wasn't the sort of thing that beginners would do.
No.
And now more and more people are coming across to bricks that don't have a lot of web dev, deep web dev skills. They might be using builders that are, drag and drop, UI, change your settings. Yeah. They don't necessarily know how the code works. And then when they get into bricks, it's like a bit overwhelming. And I know, for example, there's a couple of videos I made recently, and there's a guy who took exception that I said it was going to be easy, and then I used CSS. And not very many people understand CSS, apparently. So, I mean, that obviously is a silly comment, but that's probably someone who really just is brand new. But it's everyone from that through to people who are skilled. So some of the stuff, I even know through some of the other forums, like I'm trying not to mention names here because I don't want to create any trouble. But in some of the other forums where it's supposed to be easy, most of the support calls are from people who are asking questions because they don't have the basic skills. Yeah, not because there's a problem with the system, but they just don't have the basic skills to use it.
Yeah, I personally, I don't have any problem with that. Okay, but the problem comes when they present themselves as there is a bug. This is not working.
Yeah.
You can totally come to me and say, listen, I didn't understand this feature, and I'm not using it clearly because I'm not getting it to work. But could you help me to make it work? And this is a total different approach, right? And I'm super happy to jump in and people that present themselves without right being a Karen. basically.
We see that a lot in
yeah.
comments. I'm sure Paul does as well. You know, like trying to teach something and like this doesn't work. It's like, you know, it's not being done right. We got to learn how to do it and be patient. I think patience is really hard right now for a lot of people because of the tools we have. And I was going to ask, you know, like I'm predicting we're going to see a flood of plugins coming in these next year or two, just from Cursor and Replit and stuff like that. So, you know, between all the non-coders using AI to create plugins and also other mistakes that people are using that we see, like just jumping into a community, not providing any value, and just, you know, basically self-promoting and spamming in other communities, you know, what suggestions do you give to people who want to create plugins, especially if they're trying to go that AI route, or they don't know how to promote it, or, you know, you can see the obvious red flags? What are your suggestions? And this goes to everybody, but let's start with Maxime.
Yeah. So what should they do to promote these kind of products?
No, what direction should they go in to prevent, you know, like going down a bad road, you know, like trying to create with AI and not really understanding the code and, you know, things like that?
Yeah, I still do believe that this is an issue. I mean, AI is super useful, and it will be a revolution. There is no doubt about it. I mean, already what AI is able to do right now is just mind blowing, and from here in a year or two, it will be a revolution. There is no doubt about it. But it's a risky tool. I mean, you need to understand what's going on behind, because if you are just going to vibe code and just copy paste without any clue of what it's doing, I mean, I wouldn't recommend going this road, right? I would still recommend to try to learn something about it. I mean, try to understand what it's actually doing, because it can be extremely useful to put. I mean, to gain some time, right? To be productive, but it can't replace you. It can't replace the choices. You have to make choices when you do a product, right? It's not like mathematics. You have to make choices. You have to make architectural choices, okay? And that doesn't mean that one way is not right and the second is, but I mean, once you make choices, human choices, and you are projecting the product in the future with your choices. And this is not, AI can't do this. It can solve problems that you are bringing to him, right? But it can't plan over the years and have like a project for you, right? I don't think it's how it works. So you have to make matches, these two things. I mean, the skills, the code skills, right? And how the product is going to evolve in the time. And yeah, I mean, I think
danger.
I could imagine.
You have to educate yourself if you are going to be a product owner, and especially in the Bricks community, and providing a plugin that will work on code, and you are not a coder. I mean, at some point you will have to hire maybe a programmer, right? And that makes sense. But I mean, being completely unaware of what your code is doing, I mean, this sounds quite risky to me. Yeah.
I think that's the danger is as it gets easier to sort of code, especially when it comes to things like WordPress plugins. You know, if you were passing that off as something, even if it's free, you know, once you put that out there, people will expect support. They will find issues. And if you're in a position where you just don't know what that code does, you can't offer, you know, if you were just literally going like, okay, there's this problem, I'll go back to the AI and ask that to fix it for me. And on the surface, it fixes it for you. But it could also open up additional issues. And I think that's the danger, especially when we know how sort of easy it is for things inside WordPress to have security issues and cause issues and things like that. I mean, it's no sort of surprise when you come into themes and plugins and things like that, how you can have something in there that seems perfectly fine, but will be exploited at some point. But if you don't know that and you don't know how to check it, you can ask AI, can you find any vulnerabilities? It goes back, no, everything is fine. But then you can also get AI to tell you that the sky is green. It will lie with conviction. And I think that's the dangerous thing. If you ask it to create you a simple website in HTML, CSS, and some JavaScript, fair enough, that's one thing. But I think once you go into the realms of getting it to create, simple or complex projects that you want to employ inside a WordPress website, I think that's a danger, that if you don't know how to spot those issues, you could be opening yourself up, and potentially other people, if you start to give this away for free, you can definitely start to open up some serious problems for yourself in so many different ways.
100%.
Another thing I wanted to highlight is, I'm talking about AT, but I'm sure it's for the majority of plugins on WordPress, on complex WordPress, the code base is huge. It's really huge, and it's interconnected between functions, right? So the AI is not able to read all your code of your plugin and make decision about it. You have to take a chunk of code and say, can I optimize this kind of this partial code, right? And the problem is, if you are decontextualizing the code, then problems arise, right? Because your code, it's a spaghetti code anyway. I mean, it will be interconnected with functions, okay? And if you change something there, it might have consequences there, and AI is not even conscious that this code is related between different functions. So when it gets complex, and when you get to thousands and thousands rows of code, okay, AI right now at this stage is not able to process all this information and return a correct answer. It will be a partial answer based on a portion of your code, and this is where the problems begin.
Sometimes
I don't know if it's clear.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's deceptive too, because it could look great, everything looks like it's fine, but behind the scenes it's not. I tried. I won't say the tool name, but I tried an AI tool that created a Gutenberg block-based template site, and looked fine. But when you went to edit it, you couldn't duplicate blocks because it came up with code errors, and it just so many problems in the actual code it generated. Even though it looked perfect, it looked like something that you could give to a customer and it would be fine. So and it was just playing with it.
And I think that's an issue with lots of things, like the Figma sites, for example. You look at the code that generates; it's terrible, but on the surface, it looks great. It is though. I mean, the code is bad.
Yeah, it's like 20 divs just for a header.
Yeah. It's like looking at Elemental last year.
But you know what? A buddy of mine he created a site. I shared it inside our community. It was clean. He built it all on Replit. First started off in Bolt, transferred it over to Replit, and it wasn't just a small site. It was like 100-page website with a knowledge base and even a database in there as well. There's even some gamification, but then checking out the code. But I think he spent months and months and has a little bit of a technical background as well. I think he's crazy like us, where he just obsesses a lot. But definitely, I could see the repository, like Dave said here, that it's going to get. I could see it. Like they must be getting just crazy, like people just playing around with it. Like, I'm just going to build a plugin today and send it out and try to get it out there. It must also be happening to the app stores as well.
Yeah.
There is a question. Elaine asked a question for Maxime, Alan, or Paul. Doesn't want me to make the video though, but that's okay. My feelings are hurt. Please, can you create a video? Please, can you create a video for structure generator? Okay, I'm glad you didn't ask me. No, just kidding.
Yeah, that's going to be Maxime.
I'll
'cause
leave
he's
that
into
for
the,
I'll leave that for Alan. Alan and
man.
Maxine.
that's one
It has
feature I
been,
haven't even.
yeah, that's been on my to-do list. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I have a big problem with making
Just
videos.
kidding, Elaine.
Actually, no, but it's one of my weakness, right? I mean, I'm not really excited to make videos. This is
Yeah.
not this is a side of my work that I'm not particularly enjoying. And actually, making a video is okay, but it's all the editing part and you have some issues or videos I hate it. I don't understand how Paul and Jeffrey are like dedicating that kind of time to this work. It's just useless.
Lots of mushroom tea.
Yeah, I mean, I
I got a question for all of you.
yeah.
We'll start with Maxine, Paul, then Alan. The question is, what would you like to see Bricks either improve or change?
Okay, go on, Paul.
Oh,
This
right,
is for
okay.
Paul.
I know I'm throwing something out there, guys. But I mean, we're all Bricks users. We all got passion for it, you know. And I'm sure, as all of us who told something in it that we would like to see done better or just done, period.
Well, I would love to see a check from Bricks on my yeah, $1 million on my desk, right?
Hey,
That
I'm
would
still
be
waiting for
a
that
great
one from you.
improvement for me.
Man, just imagine that affiliate program launched, right?
Yeah. So what would I like to see? I've got to be honest, I think one of the biggest things that I don't like about Bricks, and I don't think it's been addressed in Bricks 2.0, is the color palette. I think it's terrible. I think what Maxime's done, especially with the sort of the screenshots you've done where you've sort of got the colors and you've got the shades and the transparencies and things as a kind of like a graduation and things, that to me is a much better way, because I find the palette, part of the thing is there's an inconsistency between, you'll open the palette up in some spaces and you've got the little circles, you open it in other places and you've got massive circles of the colors. And it's kind of like, it doesn't feel intuitive, especially when you've got a long list of colors, you know, and shades and tints, which you can easily build up if you're using a framework and so on. So I like what Maxime's done there. And I would like to see something similar to that, because obviously, you know, we don't want to step on toes. But I'd like to see something similar to that, just an improvement over the whole color setup, because I think that really is not very good at this point in time. Probably a silly little thing in comparison to some of the other things that people would like to see in it. But for me, it's like every time I open that color palette, I might just like, you know, just die a little inside thinking this would be so much better.
Yeah, 100% on that. Their color, it's something that they just basically set and forgot about, I think, a long time ago. Because I mean, even the way you create colors in Bricks, you know, and then the multiple clicks you got to go through just to name a color, and then it creates some random variable for it. You know, it's like it wasn't. I mean, in fairness, there's a lot of stuff that they did extremely well, and it worked. And it's probably just one of those back burner things. Yeah. For me, it's more about the thing that's been frustrating most people for a long time in Bricks is the performance issues, particularly as your structure grows. And I don't, to be honest, I actually haven't even downloaded 2.0 yet, because I don't even want to look at it while it's in alpha and beta until it's a little bit further along, because it's just a rabbit hole for me that I don't want to go down. But I still don't know what they've improved in it yet. But the thing I'd like to see is more and more focus on the dynamic data. You know, for example, if you get, like, for example, I was doing something today, and what I needed was the loop index for a query loop. People have asked for that for so long, it still doesn't exist. But you go into Bricks Extras, you enable Bricks Extras, and you've got all these amazing extra things that you can use.
You do, yeah.
And they're quite common, simple things that you would think would just be there. You know, so, and to me, that is one of the most powerful aspects of Bricks is the way it handles its dynamic data. So if they can do more to improve that, it would be definitely a big benefit.
And to sort of just touch on Bricks Extras, I think if you were looking for an add-on pack for Bricks, especially from an accessibility point of view, Bricks Extras, in my opinion, is probably one of the best ones out there, if not the best one out there. I think that's because when I bought, like last year, I bought a couple of different sort of lifetime deals. I bought Bricks Maven, I bought Bricks Extras, and out of all these kinds of things, you've got Brixies, Advanced Themur, and Bricks Extras are probably and Core Framework, obviously. They're the kind of tools that they are my blueprint and they use on every single project, because I think there's just such nice, well thought out features inside Bricks Extras. And I think it's one of those tools that I think doesn't necessarily get talked about as much as maybe some of the other players out there. And I think Bricks Extras is one of the best ones out there.
And everything's well coded and well documented, so it's really
well coded. Yeah. Dude, when they had the Oxy extras, I almost started using Oxygen just because it was so good. You know, at that time, like when you know, as an Elementor user, you know, at that time, like the Elementor extras and add-ons are like just the clunkiest thing that you could think of. And then all of a sudden I looked at Oxy extras, I was like dang, dude, this thing is so clean. I know somebody said on Bricks Labs, Bricks Extras. I got to throw on Bricks Forge myself.
Bricks
Toby is stirring things up. He says they already built it. They took the things you like. Okay, we won't go there. You want to take that, Maxie?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I believe for the future of Bricks, right? The future of Bricks is to watch the HWP videos and replicate the features from HWP to Bricks. And this is the future of Bricks. Thank you. Bye. Mic drop.
Drop the mic. Yeah.
Oh boy. Drop the bomb.
I would say the one thing I would love to see Bricks do is marketing. I would love for them to change that part, because, you know, I'm thinking about the next year, 2 years, 3 years. Like, we got some big hitters coming out, and Bricks is blown up just off of word of mouth, but every business needs sales and marketing in order to survive and thrive. And I think, you know, to me, that's very worrying when, you know, a company thinks it doesn't need to do that. And it's only going to run. I don't know. That's just something that's been bothering me for a while. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I agree. But at this point, I would wait. Thomas and Bricks announced that they are working on a wireframe templates that will be provided inside Bricks, right? So at this point, I would wait until there are ready-made templates from Bricks, and if the idea is to open up the gate to a target that maybe it's not the usual target that they brought organically, okay, and they are looking for a new audience, okay, I would hold on and wait for these ready-made templates, because I think this can be a game changer for appealing a new kind of audience, right? And they have been holding on for a long time for templates and ready-made materials, right? And I think that if they want to make the step further, they need to put some focus, some energy on that part. And when they have more beginner-friendly basis material, I think they should go definitely on making some. At least trying. I mean, you don't have to go full on millions of dollars of investment. You can just try some campaigns and see if they're working. I mean, I think Bricks never did it ever. No, so just try it and see if it can work. Because it's risky. Maybe the niche is complete and everyone knows about. For example, this is a question I ask myself too, right? Does it make sense to make a promotion for Advanced Themur? But the community is that smaller for me, and I believe that most of the community knows already AT. So what is the value to create promotion, right? And probably Thomas is thinking the same way. I mean, most of the developer-focused users probably already know about Bricks, and if they choose or not to purchase it, it's not something that promotion may change, right? So I understand it can be risky as a decision, right? But it doesn't have to go 100% on it. You can just make easy try and see if it works. This
The
is
other thing
my
to consider is that the last thing you want, 'cause advertising is expensive,
yeah
as Elemental found out when they did a couple of years back, when they went all in on the marketing and they were spending obviously millions on it, because
yeah
I think between in front of every one of my videos is an Elemental video, you know what I mean, that kind of thing. And the last thing we want Bricks to end up doing is taking on venture capitalists or investments from outside companies that then we can see the damage that's done to other companies and how their priorities have changed because they now have people they've got to answer back to get their returns on their investment, and they want to see certain aspects growing, so they see their returns are getting bigger and bigger. And I don't think that ever ends well for the product, the people behind the product, or a lot of times for the actual consumer, the people like us, because then you get a product that is being pushed faster than maybe it should be, but also it's not geared specifically on what the user wants. It's how can we get as many people on board as possible without necessarily catering to the people that actually made us to the point where you were big enough to get that venture capital funding kind of thing. You know, I don't need to name names, and I'm not. It's not specific to the WordPress community or ecosystem. I think it's just generally across the board. Once a company takes on that VC funding, it goes down a completely different route. And I think Thomas is probably, you know, not to speak for him, but I think Thomas has got a vision for where he wants Bricks to be. And I don't think it's as a competitor to the likes of Elemental with the 15 million user base. That, to me, is more what Breakdance is looking to do to try to tap into that market. And I don't know. I think I'm probably with Maxime on this one. It's like people know about Bricks. And I think now that we've got like Elementor has taken on CSS grid, sort of Flexbox, it's moving into working with CSS framework and variables and global classes and things like that. That gap for the typical user looking in between the likes of Elementor and Bricks suddenly shrinks, because those kind of terminologies, you know, you kind of have that beginner approach where you had sections and grids and rows and stuff. It was easy to get your head around. You explain it simply like it's like a spreadsheet, rows and columns and cells. That's basically how it works. But once you start to move to Flex and CSS grid and things, the whole concept becomes more complicated to explain and educate people on. And plus the fact it means that for a lot of people, it's a lot more difficult to get their heads around if they're new coming into it. And by them adopting that as their initial way of getting in, I think they are going to lose those beginners because that element is no longer there. So the barrier to entry suddenly gets a little bit higher, whereas Bricks has had that from the get-go. It was never intended to be a beginner's tool. So I think we've got to be careful what we would wish for. I agree with you absolutely that two things. They do need to advertise, not to the extent of the likes of what Elementor did a couple of years back, but also I think they need to be more prominent as people, because Thomas, the people look at Thomas as being Bricks. And like when I did the live stream with him, that was the first time he's ever done that. And I don't think he's done it since. And hopefully when Bricks 2.0 is released, we'll do another one. But people like to see the name and the face behind Bricks to be there. Not to necessarily get stuck into the Facebook groups and things like that, because I think that's a rabbit hole that we could all agree you could easily get sucked into, and you become less useful to your project that you're working on. But I do think there needs to be just a little bit more of a face for Bricks, because currently it's kind of faceless, whereas Elementor have done a good job of positioning themselves with a face. Breakdance has done the same thing, whether you like the face or not. It's still, that's the face you associate with the product. Do you know what I mean? And Bricks doesn't have that. People know of Thomas, but it's just more of a name than a person and a personality and those kinds of sort of perceptions. I think that's something that they could really benefit from doing. Is it doesn't have to be Thomas, it could be someone else, but they need to have a face that connects Bricks to a person or people that is the company. Do you know what I mean?
That's what I was thinking. I mean, definitely VC, forget about that. That ruins everything, or when people get bought out. I mean, it destroys good plugins in WordPress all the time. And also nothing big, you know, it doesn't need to be major. I think there's still a lot of people out there, especially if you look at like the Webflow space. There's a lot of people getting tired of Webflow, you know, and the prices going on. And, you know, I've like recently spoken with somebody from the Webflow, you know, space, big players over there. And as soon as they discover bricks, they're like, oh, dude, this is what we want. And then that's what got them coming over to WordPress from there. But I think just a little bit, because so far the face, I don't know. It's late over here, but I feel like the face has been like Paul, a few product creators.
Paul is the bricks,
you know,
owner,
like
right?
you know, a few product creators have been the face of bricks, and not bricks hasn't been the face of it. And then yeah, you go to like the Facebook group and just like it's like a free for all, Wild West. Everybody sell your own stuff, you know. Like this is
man.
You know, but okay, there's a good question. We are going to make a hard stop at 8:30. Unless if you guys want to go for another hour.
8:30 for me, it's another 3 hours, so I'm okay, no problem.
It's another 7 for me.
That's right, huh? We're all in different times. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like my battery's running out. But this is actually a great question. I had this question written down. That's from Maxime. Where do you see ATF in 12 months from now? And is there anything you really want to incorporate but haven't had a chance yet?
Yeah, so I don't think ATF will. I mean, ATF is a product that has been thought to be stable. Once it gets stable, it won't change a lot. Okay, so it has been meant to be a starting point.
Change a lot.
No, I'm sure Alan will back me up with this. Okay.
Well, we're going to remember that. We're going to remember that, man. We're going to play back this clip.
I mean, I think we can't help ourselves, and we are going to add something that we find useful and say, and I will receive messages at 3 a.m. from Alan saying, "Oh, I was just playing with that. Can we integrate it with in ATF in next release?" And of course, I will say, "Sure, Alan, why not?" And yeah, I believe I'm right now. For example, I'm working on bringing animations into ATF, just because I mean I made a video on micro animation done inside Bricks, and I thought it would be great to have a core integration inside ATF without writing any kind of code and find it already done for you in ATF. So I'm working on that. But I mean, the goal from ATF compared to other players on the market is not to continuously bring new classes, bring new variables, and it's not the point. The point is to have a starting point that cover 95% of your needs when it comes to frameworks and style organization. And from there, you are totally free to build up on that. You need more classes, you need more variables done, made for your specific cases. Nothing blocks you to add it yourself and integrate it with ATF. So you need to understand ATF a bit different. It's a different product compared to the others, where you depend on how they integrate their framework, right? Here you are with ATF, you are free to increase it how you like, and so it doesn't really. There is no need to keep adding and pushing stuff into ATF. I don't think it would be the way it's supposed to grow. What do you think, Alan?
Framework.
Is it fair? Is it fair for?
Yeah. Well, Maxime and I talked about this a lot because obviously when we first pushed it out there, there's lots and lots of different opinions on what it should and it shouldn't be. But what we wanted to do is just have something that was simple, that wasn't going to change. So we have to think about how we speak about ATF. because really, for example, BricsMaven, they announced that they've made all of their templates compatible with it. Right? So for that to be true, it has to be simple. It can't be overwhelming, and it can't change because the stuff that they do has to continue to work without the fear of you changing it. Right? So what we're thinking of ATF is really it is the spacing variables, the grids, the sizing, the padding, the colors, all that sort of stuff that's set in variables. Really, that is ATF. And then mapping that into your bricks theme so it's easy and all done for you. But you can go to the same settings in bricks that you would do. For example, if you wanted to say set your section padding as a default, that's where ATF would set it in the theme, and you can go there because you know that's where you do it. So it's familiar to you. Yeah, you don't have to use the way ATF's done it. You can do it yourself, however you want to do it. It's not tying you into anything. The thing I think that's made it confusing is where we've added in, and Maxine's just talked about the animations, the utility classes that use ATF settings. So we kind of have to think about them as separately. They're not really, the utility classes aren't really ATF. They're actually classes that use ATF. So that can continue to grow. So we can add more. I think I added some things called color sets, some ways of using SVG icons for your bullet lists and rich text and things like that. Line clamping, some mark styling, things like that. We built that in as examples of what you can do. And you can change those. You can add to those. You can delete those. Not important if you don't want to, because things like BricsMaven, they don't care whether you've got those utility classes or not, because they're not using those. They're using the core part of it, which is your variables and how you've mapped that to your theme. That makes sense?
Yeah, and ATF is less opinionated. It's kind of it's a framework for a framework. It's the starting point that you can then customize. I see it more like core framework in that regards, but core framework probably has more in it. But you know what I mean? A core framework is excuse me, less opinionated. It's more a case of this is a starting point. You can get rid of what you don't want to don't want to use, and you can add in what you want. And I think for me, that's why I kind of ended up going with core framework over some of the other alternatives, because it's not opinionated, and I like that. Some people like the alternative, which is fine. Say for me, I like that no opinion. I can set it my way.
Yeah. Well, the first release, so where this started from was we in close here. I was basically doing the same thing in WP Codebox using SAS, and then as the features in Bricks became more and more available to put it into Bricks, I started doing more of it in Bricks. And then I spoke to Maxime about standardizing it as part of AT, and then Maxime went off on this rocket tangent of adding features that support the use of AT. AT framework. So when the first release, what I did is the variable mapping was done in a CSS style sheet. And the first feedback we got is people going to the theme going, I can't find the settings. Because we didn't do it in the theme settings, we did it in a style sheet. So we decided to refactor that and just took the style sheet that we ship with ATF is extremely tiny. It's only doing the stuff that you can't do in the Bricks theme. The rest of it has all been mapped straight into Bricks theme. So you go where you know those settings are, not to some style sheet that you didn't expect it to be. Yeah.
And that's probably the beauty of it, is the fact that you are leveraging the integrated native features inside Bricks. I think that's probably one of the key strengths of ATF, is that you are leveraging. So if people are coming over from building their own or just using it in a very basic fashion, to then seeing that you've got ATF in there, they go into the same places, they're using a similar setup now, just with some extra polish on top and some extra features to make their life just a little bit easier and faster.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's pretty much it.
So when do you see ATF like fully rolled out, ready for production, like ready to go all in? Do you think it's ready now, or should how much longer? Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean there's not in ATF there is not an upgrade problem. There is no issue about upgrading because once you import the values, okay, and let's say something doesn't work, you have access directly to the code and change it yourself, and you are not depending on me releasing an update to make it work because the variables are accessible on the builder inside the builder, right? So we are going to probably to add more things in the future, but really small things. But that doesn't mean that what is working right now won't work in a year. So you can just rely. I believe you can rely on what exists right now and covers most of the use case. And if 1 year from now there is new feature to ATF, it won't change what it's existing right now on your site and it's working. So yeah, I would totally be fine using it in production right now. What do you think, Alan? Are you feeling comfortable to breaking some sites? Yeah.
I am. I'm already doing it, and I think you sent me a link to. I think it was a comment on Paul's channel to someone who showing a site he's just built with ATF, and that he's going to be building another one. So they're using it, and
we are seeing the website popping up using ATF, which are really nice, really nice.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm impressed. I didn't think Alan was that good.
What was that?
I didn't think you were that good.
I'm not. I just saw it at you and got you to do it. Yes.
Do you think you might create a Figma add-on, like to map out like the variables from Figma? See, I went really deep. That's the one thing, like, you know, I was kind of like happy about Core Framework that they came out with that. And, you know, I see there's going to be I think there's going to be a lot more Figma straight to web, you know, to web production workflows. Have you thought about that at all?
What do you think, Alan? Should we do it?
Let me just hit the check quickly. I think with your ethos, you should support PenPot first and Figma second.
Right.
Yeah. I actually threw that at Maxime.
I'm just throwing that out there. You can figure it out between yourselves. You can, you know, it's fine.
Dude, I went way too deep in variables in Figma, and I'm like, everything is variables, and now I can connect all of it. And like then you roll out ATF, I'm like, oh man, you know, like the minimalist in me wants to like remove a plugin, you know.
We were talking about it, going, geez, you know, the thing in Figma is there's no units. Everything's just considered to be pixels and your variables, right? I mean, unless that's changed.
But you could do variables on everything.
You can do clamps,
so you just put a number. You can do clamps in Figma now.
Yeah, you can do clamps.
You can do clamps. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, it's not clamps. It's
progressive typography or something. Yeah.
Ah.
I'm not a huge Figma user, so I won't.
Because that's what I'm talking about.
I can help you with that, man. If you're open. My feature request tonight. Anybody else got a feature request in the chat? Maybe an add-on for Elementor version 4? Yeah? Compatibility with the V4 editor. That would be dope. Could you do it?
Actually, the last time I checked Elementor, it was like 1 year ago or 2 years ago. I don't remember. And I was expecting to see an organized framework behind the scene. And it was actually all custom JavaScript. And I was, wow, you got like millions of users from a spaghetti code, basically. And right. I mean, great. But I won't touch this. If I want to make an add-on integrated with a builder with only custom JavaScript, it's just a nightmare just thinking about it. So I don't know if they change it. If they now with 4.0, I don't know if they upgraded their code, but I'm not really focused on that right now.
Say the least. It's not in the future of AT.
Yeah.
Oh man, I tried. I tried, everyone. Right.
Are you still using Elementor, right?
If he was doing
Yep,
that, he'd be
I
able to move
still
out of
use
the
it.
attic. Huh?
How do you find 4.0? Are you excited?
I am. I think it's a good move now. It's just too early right now. They
Yeah.
haven't rolled out enough. But I'm excited. I think it's also going to be really good for people to learn. And it's going to be a good bridge for when people do want to step up and get into something more development focused. Like everybody needs to start somewhere. And sometimes jumping too far ahead isn't the best way. And the reason why I still use Elementor is because I love Elementor users. I like
Yeah.
I like working with people who are, trying to just have fun, just trying to like build a good life, like building websites for people, not
Yeah,
caught
that's
up in all that stuff. There's a lot of stuff I don't get into it,
elitist
like
behavior. Elitist behavior. You need to do that way, or yeah.
the thing is, it's like for everybody that puts down Elementor, there are going to be other people who put down WordPress. There are going to be other
Yeah,
people
of
that put
course.
down this. There's always going to be somebody who's going to think they're better, and keep
Yeah,
doing
true.
that. The thing is, it's like we all got to start and learn somewhere. And I like working with people in their early years because they're not jaded yet.
Yeah.
Like they're still having fun. They're not tripping over the code. Like they're just like, dude, I'm like building websites for clients. Like I'm having fun. I'm learning. I'm doing something I never thought I could do. I'm providing for my family. So that's why I still use it.
Yeah. It's great.
And then you teach them a better way.
Okay, that's another call, and I think that's a great way to end this one. Paul ruined it.
Thank you, Paul.
My pleasure.
That's it.
No, look, like
Everyone
I
thinks
get
Paul.
I get where Jeffrey's coming from. Like I say, it is one of those things that I think, Elementor did absolutely change the entire landscape when they brought, Elementor 1.0 out. I mean, I was using it before there was a pro version, and I think what they've done to WordPress. I mean, if you look at the statistics, to not go down that route too much, but the reason WordPress is still so prevalent and still so relevant is not because of WordPress. I think it's in spite of WordPress, and it's the likes of Elementor that have actually done that, because it's, the whole sort of democratizing publishing. I think they democratized web design. Do you know what I mean? It's like they made it accessible to so many people. They made some dubious decisions along the way, and I think the VC funding to kind of go down that route did change their direction, and for the reasons that I said earlier on, which is a shame, because prior to that, I thought what they were doing was fantastic. You look at like some Visual Composer and Divi at the time, didn't come close. What they were doing when we brought dynamic data in and templating and so on was fantastic. And I was really excited about it and passionate about the product then. Unfortunately, since then, it has kind of stagnated in a lot of ways, in a lot of areas. And the company's ethos from the outside changed. And it was kind of a little bit disappointing to see, because up until that point, I thought they were doing a lot of really good things. I think that's why a lot of people that maybe think and feel the same, that's why they're excited about Bricks, because they seem to be taking a similar trajectory. But this is why I said I would hate to see them take on, venture capital or funding from outside sources and then change their direction in a similar way to what Elementor did and what other companies have done. And they lose their way, and their focus isn't on the likes of us then. The focus is on the bottom line. And sadly, that is something that I think we do see, and why it takes so long to sometimes get some of the features that really should be there years and years and years ago. So I'm excited. That's why I think I'm still excited about Bricks, because I think the direction they're going in is where Elementor was several years ago, before they took that funding, before they went the big advertising push and so on. So that's kind of why I would be hesitant to see Bricks kind of take a similar path. I don't think it was the right path for them. I don't necessarily think it's the right path for the people that were the early adopters and the people that were passionate about the product originally.
Yeah, then we end up with Bricks hosting. Just kidding.
Oh,
Harsh.
Not bricks.
Harsh. And adverts. Don't forget adverts.
I keep it real. Okay, I keep it real. You know, I'm gonna be honest and keep it real. You know, we got to, you know, and I think if we stay on any longer, I'm going to start putting my foot in my mouth. I could feel it. It's coming. So
Wait, then,
some things are going to get said.
Stop it from turning the live stream off.
Relationships are going to get broken.
Stop right now. You're still in time.
Hey, look, I'm really grateful for all you showing up. Before we go out, I was trying to think of one question to ask everyone, and I got one. And I just want everyone to give one simple sentence. And anybody in the chat, you could answer as well. And that is, where do you see WordPress in 2 years? Just in one sentence.
still on top.
Going heavily down the AI route.
Yeah, exactly the same thought. It will merge with AI in some way. This is the direction.
That's a lot more than one sentence back then. Yeah.
There's your
That's
sentence, Ellen.
ad-libbing. Oh, Timo. Version 7.5. Yeah, probably about right.
I see in 2 years, maybe they get full responsiveness in Gutenberg.
That's nasty.
That's wishful thinking.
Maybe.
That's not reality.
That's my prediction.
Oh, so yeah, talking about Gutenberg, not WordPress.
Yeah.
Then Gutenberg will be dead in 2 years, of course.
Will be.
I see a lot more headless and like custom built web apps. And
Yeah.
you know, I see that taking more market share coming up. That's just my prediction, though.
And we talk
And
about
maybe,
things
and maybe responsive controls. Hopefully, maybe even like. No, I was kidding.
they say it's all fluid.
All fluid, everything fluid. Okay, hey, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Does anybody have anything they want to add? Any final thoughts? I don't see any questions in the chat.
Well, what I was going to say was my final thing I want to say is if anybody's got any ideas at all for Advanced Themur, make sure you message Maxime at 3 a.m. in the morning. Like Alan does.
Not the past.
Make it as complicated as
I find that's
possible.
the best time.
Yeah.
Alan's going to put his phone number in his WhatsApp inside of the chat. We'll make sure we'll pin it in the comments, yeah?
Stop sending bug reports. Just contact me directly, okay? And during the night, please.
And the Figma add-on should be rolling out in about 3 days.
Yeah.
Yes.
About
Oh,
yesterday.
that's a bit slow.
Hey, Maxime, thank you so much for coming
It's a
on.
pleasure.
It's been a pleasure to meet you. Like, I've really been looking forward to, you know, connect. I know we chatted, but like to actually talk. I wish when I was in Italy a couple weeks ago, I would have been around your location. I definitely would have hit you up next time I'm there
Absolutely.
because I feel like, dude, we could just like vibe, you know, like a really cool dude. And you could definitely
Now
just
you
see
have
from
to
this
invite
call.
me. You have to invite me in the US now.
Come to Thailand, man. No,
in
Thailand.
Right? Oh, in Thailand you are even better.
I live in Thailand.
So I can.
Yeah,
I can
dude.
get to Alan's house too. Yeah, he's there.
Yeah. Jeffrey
They're in the
does
same
that.
house.
Oh,
They live in the same house.
Oh, no.
He's in the other room.
Jeffrey's in a mansion at the beach, I bet.
Alan's in the other room. Maxime's in our attic right now.
Alan's in the
But get him
dungeon.
a better webcam then.
Yes.
Oh man, yeah, I just see like from this conversation and just, you know, the energy, you can see the good vibes that you bring, that you've been bringing to the Bricks community, that you bring to your community. And for me personally, like, it is such a joy to watch people who deserve getting their So, you know, their success stories, their rewards, their like what you've done, man. It is a joy to see. I love stuff like that, man. And I wish you just the best success with AT, and I really look forward to the future and what comes up. And hopefully we could get another conversation sometime.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Jeffrey. Yeah, absolutely. It was a pleasure to be here. I wish Alan wasn't there, but it's okay.
Go back
Next
to
time
sleep. Go on.
yeah,
He's just here to balance the screens out.
yeah, just destroying the atmosphere. I don't know.
Right.
Oh wait, no, that's not it. There we go. There's the balance.
Okay, that's perfect. Without Alan.
I'm just going to set up an automation to send you lots of stuff at 3 and 4 a.m. now.
All right.
All right, guys.
Paul, thank you, man. It's always good to have the legend in the house, Sir Paul. Sir Paul. Paul, you've been dubbed Sir Paul by Dave Foy, and I will never get that out of my mind, dude.
I've been dubbed.
But no, it's always
Go on, man. Sorry. No.
And Alan. Oh, yeah, that one flew over me, man. Yeah. No, I look forward to connecting again really soon. Somebody asked when's the next. I'm back doing the live streams here. We got other, guests coming up next week. I got someone, and then Paul and I, we got something coming up as well. Looking outside of WordPress, looking at some other stuff. So we got some stuff happening. I look forward to connecting with Alan as well. He's a good buddy of mine. I'm always grateful to have him around, and I look forward to doing some more work with Alan. And for anybody watching, definitely go check out WP Easy. It's inside the chat. I'll also update the description of the video, putting links to everything. I'm pretty sure all of you are already subscribed to Paul's channel, but if you're not,
don't do it.
Congratulations for waking up out of your coma. You woke up out of your 10-year coma. Now let's go, check out WP Tuts and Maxime, the legend behind Advanced Themur. From what I've always said this, man. Like, I think I gave one of my videos from a couple years ago was the best plugins, and you're number 2 and Bricks was number 1. I just was like, Advanced Themur was just so damn good. It's I can't use Bricks without it, and it's just it's actually made it a challenge as a content creator trying to teach Bricks, because I feel like if I remove Advanced Themur, I'm trying to do something that is foreign to me. It's that's
you have to relearn. We learn Bricks without it. Yeah.
I don't want to. It's one of those things you really don't want to, because it just makes it so much easier. But definitely, if anybody is getting into Bricks, check out Advanced Themur. I'll also add the link inside the updated description. Hey, thank you all. I'm so grateful for you, and look forward to doing this again. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jeffrey.
Bye-bye.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, Jeffrey. Appreciate you, dude.